For this quest, at least. Now, granted, there is an Ent that is guarding our return route. It is a little bit concerning. Those look like two decent pieces of loot as well. Maybe look a little more closely when we pick up this one. Spectre Dust, I don't think we have any of that yet. Wraith Mutagen, we've seen some of those. Essence of Wraith. There could be some interesting things in these buildings if we are actually able to get in them. Let's see what the quest says. Return to Dolores, not so surprisingly. Okay. Can we go in? Can we perhaps do that? Get ourselves in. Yes. Iron ore, okay. Sure, that has some use. We can use that. We can climb up. Wow. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was going to be possible. We may have read this already. Or maybe not. I know it's suggesting that we haven't read this yet, but seemingly in the past, there were several occasions on which something like that happened, where we'd get a new book, and it would give us that exclamation point as if we hadn't read it before, and yet we had. So during my many travels, I have seen countless extraordinary places. Primeval wilds of Broccolin, trees so high their tips disappear in the clouds, dwarven chambers carved into the guts of the Mahakam Mountains, with walls plated in pure gold, the Ice Palace, Pont Vanis, adorned with stained frost windows, yet none of these made such an impression on me, as did the rightly famed Zeracania. I think we have read this? While I was traversing the fiery mountains, I feared disappointment awaited me on the other side. Yes, we absolutely have. Okay. Gnomish prankings, however, that I do not believe we have read. Scrub the greasings from a dog's ear, soak into cotton wine, place in a new lamp of greenish hue, and set said lamp betwixt an eager crowd. Forsooth shall they swear that a dog's head they behold. No, we have read this as well. Need some new reading material. I'm getting my controller vibrating here, and now there is something. Yeah. That's red.
Journal.
It's just a quest item, and I recognize that name, of course. Let's see what we have here. 3rd of Fame. Hot summer days have come earlier than usual this year. Humbert has grown unbearable. He gets angry whenever I accompany the milkmaids to the river. He says I'm not to fraternize with the help. But what makes him truly furious is when I converse with Yan and Fred. He claims a well-born lady should not mix with men of lower rank. That doing so undermines his rightful authority over them. Perhaps, once the summer swelter begins to fade, he'll become more tolerable. Now, one thing that I'm thinking of in the back of my mind is how, she was previously in this location, Dolores, and supposedly she was a relatively high-ranking person, a noble, perhaps of some variety, or maybe not quite that high, but was doing pretty well for herself. Then the place got infested with wraiths, and she had to flee. Not sure why that happened, but one might assume that something was off. Something weird happened, and I'm wondering if maybe we're gonna learn about her dark secrets, and perhaps something that might have made those wraiths arrive in the first place. The 20th of Fame. Boredom weighs heavier and heavier upon me. I love my brother, and am glad we did not sell the estate after our parents died. Ah, that was her brother she's referring to, not, like a husband or something. But at times, I daydream of what it would be like to live somewhere else, with other people. 43rd of Fame. Apparently there are more than 30 days in whatever month this is. We've a guest. He's the son of a lord from somewhere near Gor's Velen. I assume that since Velen is second word in that pair, that this is still somewhere in Velen and not very far away. A hunt took him across our a hunt? Am I supposed to read into that phrasing? A hunt took him across our land, and he asked for lodging. Oh, what joy. Finally, something is happening. I don't know. The 15th of Llamas? Spelled differently, but still. The time has come to admit it. I love Roderick. Oh, that name sounds familiar. And I feel he loves me too. I hope Humbert will be pleased. I'm assuming Roderick is the person who showed up here. Is Roderick the person who we fought a little ways back? It was all like, Maid Bilberry! Does that make Dolores Maid Bilberry? I don't know. I told Humbert about Roderick and me. He flew into a rage. He said that match was out of the question. Perhaps I can convince him otherwise. For the first of llamas, Humbert remains implacable, but I shan't abandon the love of my life for him. If I'm left with no other choice, I will run away with Roderick. Okay. Any other hints in here? There is an upstairs, which I almost forgot about. Let's check that out. Could be more. Or maybe there's just a nice view. We go out onto the balcony there, or are we gonna fall to our demise? There does appear to be a small balcony. I don't think it is one that we are meant to actually walk on. Similarly, I'm so tempted to try to walk across those beams just to see if we can, but what the heck? We'll test it. Oh, no, you can't. Or at least, not like that, you can't. Okay. And yet, we take damage when we walk out the front door. Well done, Carol. Okay, so there could be a little bit more out here, although I anticipate that we will find most of the useful things, not sure what those are, in the actual buildings. Oh, actually, that is convenient. Apparently, by going to the front door, we have found a fast travel location, which would allow us to travel back to Dolores quickly and efficiently. I think might make sense if and when we do find ourselves, once we have explored everything in here. Bath is filled with water? That would almost suggest that people were here recently. Alright. This building looks perhaps a little less interesting, although what is this? Oh.
Wonder what door this opens.
Maybe I was mistaken. I do wonder what door that opens. It seems like that's the only thing in here. So we've done this building, done that building. This is technically a different building, I suppose. Does have an upstairs. Oh. What is the significance of this picture?
Look like twins. Old woman's brother. Must be.
Okay, so presumably that's Dolores, and that is the brother that I already forget the name of. Sure. Saw the yellow loot light flashing momentarily when I turned on the Witcher senses here, and I wondered if maybe that was an indication that on the other side of this door there might be something, but or on the other side of this wall, maybe I should say, but that might not be the case. Oh, also, other passing thought, maybe it was this? Gotta get that mug. Apparently there is a setting somewhere, and admittedly I don't know exactly where it is, but something, it might be in this menu actually, that makes it so that when we use the Witcher senses, it goes a little bit with a fisheye effect, and I personally don't really mind that at all, but some people were saying that in some cases that's actually really annoying and can give them headaches and stuff, so if that is a concern, then I can look into how to do that, but I have not checked myself as to where exactly that option lives. So let me know. No one has explicitly said that, yes, it is horrendous, Lids, please stop, change it immediately, but if that is the case, then I can definitely do that. And Abram. Okay. Pretty sure that is also technically just junk, as is the rope, but could still either sell it as is for a little bit of coin, or have someone, every time we go down the stairs, could also have someone break down into its parts, which might be helpful as well. So let's see, we tried this building, tried that building, there's that little hut there. We had the barn key is what we picked up before, and this maybe looks the most like a barn, although the door is blown open. So, probably not actually what we were looking to unlock. Yeah, that's a little unpleasant. Seemingly nothing in here, and those corpses would suggest that maybe it has been a while since someone's been here. Oh, that! Now that looks like the main building. Before we go there, let's just see. Have gone in there. Gone in there. Might mostly be the main building and a bit of a smaller building off to the side, which may or may not be connected there. That is a wood pile, not a side door. Also, a little bit intrigued by whether there might be something hanging out on the other side of any of these buildings, but that can be a after-the-fact scenario. Okay, this is locked. And that was, apparently,
Somebody lived here once.
Well, yes, thank you, Geralt. That is very observant of you. I guess... I suppose that if this is actually the barn, and it looks like that may very well be the case, that, that is a little bit strange if someone is living in the barn while most of the other people were living in the actual places that are meant to be houses. I feel like it probably would be this Roderick that we were hearing about. Seems like the type of place where one might hide. What is this?
Dolores.
Uh-huh. And here?
Something here. A chest.
Okay. Whoa! Experience? And some coins? Not an insignificant amount at that. Dad, what is up with this? Okay. Sure. Okay, that seems like everything in here. Yeah, we've checked that out. This is technically a different door. I mean, I see that there's... Oh, could we... There might be another door that leads through into this area. Or we might be able to blast through it with an ARG. Let's see. That does not seem to be the answer. Let's try going in through the more conventional way. Like that. This? Yes. Okay. Let's check it out. A little more to loot. Got some emerald dust in the previous room. Sapphire dust here. If I remember correctly, that was emerald dust in the last one. Something like that. Some, I would assume, fairly valuable stuff. Alchemist powder we have seen a fair bit of. I don't recall what exactly it is used for. Oh, that's something. Crystallized essence. That sounds like that would be a useful crafting material. We don't have any already. We might have a little bit. But I don't exactly think we are overflowing with it. Horn, leather pelts, linen, or crafting materials. Anything hanging out in this corner, or is that just about it? I think that is probably just about it. Oh, except... Almost missed the ladder. I suppose let's just check this corner here, which I almost missed. Let's say there's a door there. It's odd. Don't really see a door. Maybe that's also on the second floor and we're just getting a little bit of a sneak peek of it. Either way, let's try the ladder. Geralt. Well, there might be some good stuff up here. More seemingly valuable dust. We definitely have not seen whatever that is. Stableford's dust? Just a door. That's not of interest. Been through that. This looks like a precarious floor here. I would perhaps not trust myself to walk on this old, rickety wooden flooring. That's not helping. Look out on the lane. Yeah, I think that is probably just about everything in here. I would suspect, unless we can, like, sneak up this slope. We can. I doubt there's any benefit to doing this, but gives us a chance to surf a little bit. Okay. Let's head down. I think this was the last building. Pretty sure this was the last building. So I don't think we have anything else left to loot. Unless there's something in the outhouse. I don't think it's the case. Also, the tree ant is over here. Probably still. Yup! Which probably means we would rather either teleport back here or check as to whether there's anything else that we want to make sure that we hit in this area before we head back. Like, do we want to go further down to this notice board before we teleport back? There might even be another fast travel location over here. Really? Wait. So I think the tree guy is over here by Roach. That's the area we went in through. I assumed that we were actually going in and finding this this fast travel location to the south. We could go, except it's north, obviously. Could go south. In that case, the opposite direction we're going right now. Let's give that a shot. I'm intrigued. I'd like to see what that smaller town is. And by smaller town, I mean it looks like it has a couple of buildings, and that might be it. We'll just take the road here. We have a humongous bear of some variety. That might not be a bear. It's a rather large beast. No. Feels like other bears we've fought previously are smaller than that and have typically been black bears, and of course, as you know, black bears are best. So, I would assume this bear is no stronger, except it looks a little mangier. It's 12. Should be fine. I'm pretty sure that just auto-targeted at the bear. I did not aim that, and yet I'm pretty sure it still hit it. It's pretty cool. Okay, bear dude. Okay, now, granted, we did just absolutely waste Quen there. No question. Let's get it back, though. Wow, that was a whip. That is not dealing much in the way of damage. I would have expected a bit more than that. That might have been a little bit better. Yeah, I think our silver weapon right now is definitely better than our steel weapon. So that may have something to do with it. We were fighting some enemies that were about this level earlier, but that was silver enemies with our silver sword. This little axe is definitely not as good. Hit him in the bum! He's running away! Get the crit! All you can. This time, that one. Slowly whittling down his HP here. Granted, is there anything that says that we need to fight this bear right now? No. But he is in the way. Kinda sorta. Is he also running away and potentially does not want to fight us? That could potentially be the case. Oh, that's not true. This is like Yeah, you know, Bear wants nothing to do with us. I'm sorry, dude. I would say it's Witcher business, but then again, it's kind of not Witcher's business, because you don't have to fight it, even for Witcher reasons. Okay, well, I was in the process of rolling away. Just wants to take a nap. Sort of. Kind of. We weren't pestering it constantly. Can I hit you from here? Yes, but so can you. Oh, that did still hit us. When, not back yet. Close. I tried to sneak that in, and that was, I believe, the finishing blow. I'm sorry, Bear, dude. You didn't deserve that. But yes, if anything, that is a good indication. I'm trying to just... That was? Okay. If anything, that's an indication to us that our steel weapons are definitely not as far along as our silver weapons now. So if we're looking... Oh, my controller was vibrating there. I think that was just in response to the bear being there. But, yeah, if we're looking to make some weapon upgrades, then we probably ought to prioritize steel over silver. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Are we still headed roughly in the right direction? Yes, but we need to go right. Is this it, or is it... No, this looks like a random abandoned area. Presumably has some kind of monsters around it. That looks like a ghoul or an algul. Algul. Level 14. It is a silver enemy, which means we might be in better shape to fight that, even though it's a slightly higher level than the bear was. Our weapon is stronger against it than our weapon was against the bear. Oh, I hit you with the... Woo! The Axie. I was expecting you to get stunned, and for you to not reflect damage. Whoa! I did not see how much that was hurting us, though. So we are about to die. And that would seem to suggest we probably do not want to fight that guy right now. Maybe not as much for the offensive reasons. I mean, we're dealing a little bit of damage, not a ton. But more so for the, oh my god, we need better armor to fight that guy. Okay, so this is the location we're looking for. Downwarren, did it say? We do have a notice board. Let's check it out. Free dog, giving me Roger. To any who care for him. Well, and promise not to eat him. Well, hopefully that's not what you're gonna do. He's a lovely, well-behaved mutt. Harks the hand what feeds him. But that's not the expression. But I've not left to feed him with. Perfect for guarding a yard and garden for herding sheep at pasture. Awfully glad to sleep in a barn. You can take him. Come see Baxter. Okay. Kindling and logs for burning. For modest pay, gladly in grains or greens, I'll carry brush and branches from the woods to burn for fuel and wood. I'll trade citron rugs for food. I'll trade ornate citron rugs for food, meat preferably, though I'll consider greens as well. New items, never used, ideal for decorating walls, lovely fabric with linen work. Meant as a dowry for my daughter, but the Blackens did her in, so there'll never be no wedding. Ooh, yikes. I mean, we definitely have plenty of meat, raw meat in particular, with all the wolves and wild dogs we've fought, but I don't know if that's actually something we'll be able to trade. And then pots and ceramics, and even sold. Pots, mugs, and vases, molded and fired, all made of the purest clay straight from byways. Everything to fit your fancy. Decorated or plain, but all pretty as milkmaid and twice as sturdy. Wagon for sale. Hay rake wagon for sale. Original owner. Good condition. Hardly used. Kept in barn. Inquire with many. Leather tanner. Will flesh and tan the hides of deer, wolves, and bears. Price negotiable. We do have lots of leathers. I'm just not necessarily...
Looks like rain.
Well, again, very observant of you, Geralt. It just seems odd that we went to the notice board, and yet there don't seem to be any notices that are directly related to Witcher's work. Now, granted, we seem to be in a relatively small town here, so I suppose that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Well, maybe. I don't know. It's a little odd. Is there any purpose at all for that notice board? For us, at least? Now, you, however, we got a Gwent. Let's first see if you are selling any Gwent cards, in which case we can load up on those and selling rotten flesh. Fantastic. You know, if you were selling any Gwent cards, then we could buy them and then turn around and beat them with those same cards, which would be kind of nice. Now, I don't think we've necessarily picked up anything in the meantime that is terribly valuable that we'd want to get off our hands. Well, we picked up a little bit of junk. Let's sell some of that. I don't think that much of it will be terribly useful to us, except the leather, I think, can sometimes be, but I think that's, of all the things that we have, in terms of crafting materials, we have the most leather or things of a similar sort. And bear hide for 24 coins, that's something compared to the other stuff, which is, you know, like 1 or 2 coins apiece. Candelabrum, I don't remember. I mean, it's made of metal. Does it actually give us decent stuff when we break that down into parts? I feel like of all the stuff we had there, that might have been the most likely. This deck, I don't know if there's ever an actual purpose for having it. Like, is there any plot significance to it at any point in time? Possibly. I feel like it might be worth holding on to, just in case, for that reason. As for other crafting materials, they're not weighing us down. Like here, this is what I was referring to. Leather straps, a whole bunch. Other leather scraps, not quite as much. Pure leather, not quite as much, but still. All in all, it seems like leather, we're doing pretty well on that front. So, not too concerned, at least immediately, about having access to leather for crafting purposes. But how about a game of Gwent?
Don't know that I'm gonna buy anything, but I sure wouldn't mind a few rounds of Gwent.
Alright, let's see. Oh. I know we recently bought a few Commander's Horns. We not put them all into our deck? I mean, I'm not necessarily sure that we want to use them all. Oh, also, why are we on the Nilfgaardian Empire? We don't even have enough Nilfgaardian Empire cards to play a game with them? I don't think, actually. Let's check. Number of unit cards, 0. Special cards, 0. We do have a fair amount on the left here, but I still would suspect that it's not quite enough. So we're probably getting close, and if we beat this guy and find ourselves getting some additional cards out of it... Oh, hold on. I did not mean to forfeit. I just meant... Let's do Northern Realms. I think we have, set up the deck the way we want to have it. We do have 2 Commander's Horns. I think that's... Maybe you could even make a case for having 3. They are really good. Doubling the strength in a given row. Limited to 1 per row. Yeah, not so surprisingly. I suppose that means... Oh yeah, you could have multiple Commander's Horns. And play 1 in each row. So you could use 3 in 1 round if you really wanted to. So it's not like... Yeah, you could load up on them to a certain extent. It's not like there's a certain amount after which they are completely useless, but I think 2 is probably relatively balanced, so let's give this a shot with what we have here. Okay, and again, I have been playing the standalone Gwent game a fair bit, so there is certainly a non-zero chance that I will end up mixing up some of the mechanics or some of the cards, because, well, it is just similar enough for me to be dangerous. So Siegfried, Kira, and Deathmold is actually, I think, our highest card. Prince Dennis is a spy. It's probably good to have one of those in our hand, in case we find ourselves in a situation where we don't expect to be able to win a given round. We might as well load up on some cards, take the loss. We don't have a lot of siege units, so I think we swap these guys out. And of course, get other siege units instead, although this one is much better as a self-standing card, allowing us to take a card from our discard pile, and also it's a 5 instead of a 1. And what did we get for the last Siege Engineer? I'm pretty sure we swapped one card for another of the same type. This is actually a monster deck we're playing against. I think this is the first time we've played anyone with a monster deck. Now, should we read into that at all? Should we be concerned that this person is a monster? Should we be asking questions? Anyway, I should actually look at what that does. It's 2, and then can be placed in either close combat or ranged. Cannot be moved once it's placed, though. Okay, so it's mostly just a 2 strength card at this stage. Not that good. I think we're doing okay in that case. Not like our opponent has dropped an amazing card round 1 and we're immediately feeling like we're gonna lose. As for this card, is that just a normal 5? It is. Forktail. Okay. 5 is pretty high, but it is still something that we can keep pace with. Now, granted, we potentially should have realized that our opponent is using cards in the close combat row, and therefore it might be best for us to use our cards in the, or focus on playing our cards in a different row so that we can use something like Fighting Frost and reduce all close combat cards to 1. We'll play Kira now with that thought in mind. We will still, of course, lower Vest to 1 if we do go that route. And it's looking like that's going to be a strong choice here if our opponent continues to load up on that row. Good play. Deathmold here. I'm not sure that it's necessary. If we were to play Fighting Frost, then we would have the lead. Now, would our opponent... Ideally, our opponent would pass after that. They'd say, okay, you got me. You did a nice counter for what I had set up here, and I'm gonna move on to the next round. But it's a computer, so you never know. I vaguely remember that a while back the computer did some absolutely insane stuff, and so can't ever really trust it, but we'll give it a shot here. So it hurts Vess, so it does lower us, but it hurts our opponent more. And that is the fear, is that our opponent has some strong cards that they can place in other rows that will be capable of making it, well, still making our opponent still have a pretty decent score. Even if they have several nerfed cards in the strength row. Granted, we have 7 cards remaining. Our opponent has 6. They have played a 6 strength card here. They've played... This card was fairly weak, but this was a 5, this was a 5. What I'm getting at here is, might we pass soon, thinking that our opponent has invested more heavily than we have in this first round, and therefore we might be able to outpace him round 2 and round 3. I'd say we might have a small advantage at this point, but it's not that big. So we did play 2 5s ourselves, and we played the Biting Frost. We could potentially throw down the Siege Expert. See, it's probably our worst card, almost certainly our worst card at this point. And that would be a way for us to just bide our time for 1 turn and maybe bait our opponent into playing another very strong card, have them overinvest further, and give ourselves a more significant advantage for round 2 and 3. I think that's what we ought to do here. So we want our opponent to play another card. That is the goal. And he passed. Okay, so now that puts us in a bit of a funky place. You could make a strong case for us playing Stennis here, because we are currently losing. Playing Stennis would just mean that we're losing by more than we're currently losing, but we would still draw... How many is it? 2 cards? 2 cards. Stennis would go into the melee row, which means he would only be a 1. So actually, we could theoretically have a little bit of the best of both worlds. We could play Stennis, and that will give us 2 cards. Then we'll have to play one of those to take the lead. Because once we play Stennis for our opponent will go up to 10, we'll still have 7. We'll have 2 extra cards. We'll have to play one of them to go from 7 to likely 12. If we play, suppose, well, I mean, it can't be Siegfried, because he'll be nerfed to just a 1. It'd probably end up being one of the cards that we end up drawing, depending on what they are, so it's a bit of a risk, but my point here is that on net, we will have gained 1 card and still be able to win this round, so I think that is still beneficial. Depends a little bit on what we get here. We got a siege unit, which is very powerful. That'd be seemingly a bit overkill. We did also get the horn, which is also probably a bit overkill, so it's probably... Well, I think we go with the horn. We go the horn here. Double Kira to a 10. Arguably the horn... Well, the horn in round 2 would give us 11 if we put it in the siege row. So actually, no. I think if we're playing smart, it sounds weird, but we're going to play Death Mold here. Because Siegfried is a 1 if we play him, so we're still losing. And we'd have to play another card further if we still want to win this round. If we play Siege Engineer, yeah, that is a 5, so that's, from a strength standpoint, technically the most efficient. However, we miss out on being able to use its ability to take 1 card from our discard pile and play it. That, I think, is a strong boost, and we want to make sure we're taking advantage of, so we don't want to play that card this turn. That leaves us with either the Horn, which the opportunity cost there is 11, because at most in round 2 we will have Siege row with the Dunbanner Medic and Trebuchet, adding up to 11, doubles to 22 when we use the Horn. So that means that Death Mold is actually, I believe, the most efficient option here. A little bit overkill, because we didn't manage to draw the perfect card for the situation. Would have ideally been like a 4 strength unit, and we just barely take the lead. Oh, I did not see. Does this card have a special ability that allows us to come back at the end of a round? Or did our opponent go first and play that? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure why that card is still there. They use a hero ability. Pick any weather card from your deck and play it instantly. It's good to know that they have that. But, oh wait, what? We had the horn all along? It's actually the decoy? Oh no, we got, Northern Realms draws a card whenever you win a round, so I'm pretty sure that's where we got the decoy from. That definitely was not here earlier. Pop a card on the battlefield to return to your hand. Okay. Oh. That gives me an idea. Take a quick look at our deck here, at our discard pile, rather. What I'm thinking is, I don't know if this is possible, but if we play the Siege Medic, and then we use Decoy to bring the Siege Medic back into our hand, can we benefit twice from its ability to choose 1 card from our discard pile? Is that a thing? I'm not sure, but it seems like it is certainly worth experimenting. That means we can bring back Death Mold. He is our strongest card in our discard pile, so that would likely be the best route for us to take there. Let's take a look at what the deal is with this card here. 4 strength, find any cards with the same name in your deck and play them instantly. The fact that you did not play them instantly seems to suggest that you do not have any other cards with the same name, and therefore that card is just a simple 4. Okay, so what we do now is we play the decoy. It brings you back to our hand. Hopefully means that we can get a free card out of it. We have an Intriga. These look oddly familiar. And it is quite simply just a 2. I'm a little surprised that it's in the ranged row. I mean, yes, they do kind of have a ranged poisonish attack, but it seems like for the most part, they're melee-like units. Maybe more so for Intriga warriors, but I don't know. Okay, now to test our theory. Does this work? Yes! Okay, now we mean business then. So I think in that case, it actually becomes a bit of a tough question as to what the best route to take is, because I think we take Kira. The reason why I say that, because that means that our range row now has 11 strength in it. If we were to play our other siege unit, you do have an extra Necker in your deck, because I recognize that icon. That is the icon of find other cards in your deck with the same name. That's different art, though. That's cool. So, what I was getting at was, we're going to have 11... We do have 11 strength in our range row. If we play this siege unit, we'll have 11 strength in this row. And then... I mean, that's not a bad thing. It just gives us flexibility with our horn. We can play here. We can play here. This... reduces all ranged people to 1. So if anything, I feel like we probably want to double siege row and leave us that option of potentially using the horn here. I mean, we don't really want to at the moment because we have 11 strength and our opponent just has 2 in the range row, so it's not necessary just yet, but theoretically possible. I think we are in good shape here, though. Now, granted, our opponent has to use that weather effect. We do have clear skies, clear weather, which means we could remove that if we wanted to. I'm feeling like if we go all in here on this round, I'm pretty confident that we can take this win. So I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to play Siegfried. I'm going to leave this weather effect on here and basically give our opponent a chance to play a weather effect in the range row if they see that as something that they want to do, or maybe even the melee row. If they do that, well, they wouldn't do it in the melee row. They shouldn't do it in the melee row because they have more strength there than we do. But what that does is, if in fact they decided to play a range row weather effect and reduce these guys to 1 strength apiece, then we could have cleared 2 weather effects in 1 fell swoop with this card. Turns out, wasn't the case, but we were hedging our bets, just in case. Just in case. So, I think, in that case, let's... Well, we can delay 1 more turn just in case that does end up happening. Let's double the range row. At least at the moment, that is preferable. And if our opponent decides to use one of those weather effects, they do have the hero card that presumably will allow them to do just that. Okay. Thanks for doing the thing that I was about to do. Okay. So, we have a pretty strong 17-point lead here. We only have weather cards remaining, so there's not much we can do at this point, short of using our hero ability, our leader ability, which doubles the strength of all siege units. Oh, actually, this was a good thing we did use the horn in the range row, because this is basically, it is, functionally, a horn for the siege row. So I'm pretty sure there is no way, yeah, that our opponent can win at this point. So we have given them quite a clobbering. Would have been nice to hit 50, but, you know, probably still our strongest performance yet at Gwent.